Investment banking applications are open, so if you're thinking about applying, now is the time. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the 2022 investment banking recruiting timeline, what applications I've already seen that are open, and what you should expect and prepare for moving forward. For those who are new to my channel, welcome. I make videos on finance, career, and lifestyle. I recruited for investment banking a couple of years ago, and every year without fail, I find that the recruiting timeline continues to move earlier and earlier. This year is no different. Several applications have already opened, most of which are on a rolling basis. So let's first take a step back and talk about the time frame from September to December. At this point, a lot of firms were holding recruiting events. This is a time when you should be networking with professionals and ideally also prepping up your resume and preparing technicals and behaviorals ahead of the interview process. At this juncture during the fall, a lot of firms will be hosting recruiting events either at schools, virtually, or in their offices. Now let's fast forward to December to March. At this point, a lot of diversity programs are opening their application processes. These programs are fantastic if you do fit into the requirements for diversity, and there are several types of programs. I've made a video on that before, so I'll link it right above here. However, these programs are fantastic because the pool is much smaller. You're able to apply early, no one has been selected yet, and there's honestly a better chance of getting admitted into the program when you're applying earlier. Now, the March to September timeframe is generally when the regular cycle for investment banking recruiting takes place. And the reason why this time frame is so spread out and so long is because I want to account for the earliest applications and the latest ones. In general, firms will all want to move their processes up earlier because if one firm has their applications open in March and starts interviewing candidates in April, they're going to get first pick at all of the best candidates. The interview process generally takes only about 2 weeks. You hear back on your offer within a day of your final round interview, and then you have 2 weeks to accept it. If another firm is only starting their interviews in August, that means they'll likely get last pick at a pool of super talented candidates. Furthermore, the recruiting timeline for every school is slightly different. Schools are broken up into recruiting talent teams, and these teams are based on the school. So the day you have your interviews for NYU might be different from the day you have interviews for USC. However, they're all roughly around the same time frame. You likely won't have interviews for NYU happening in March and interviews for USC happening in August for the same bank. So as you begin applying for these applications, which I'll mention a few of them later on in the video, I really recommend you stay highly organized. What I did during my recruiting process is I had an Excel tracker of every single recruiting networking contact that I had, every application I applied for, whether I heard back, whether I got an interview, so on and so forth. However, it honestly got to be a lot and it was practically impossible to really keep track of. I actually highly recommend using Jackfruit instead. They're a great tool to stay on top of the recruitment process, and it's a completely free platform. It allows you to keep track of all your networking contacts, job applications, documents, and resources. They have an incredibly easy to use interface, and they also have a super useful Google Chrome extension to add in jobs from Handshake, LinkedIn, and Workday. I'll include a link to Jackfruit if you're interested down in my description box below, so you can check it out there. So here are some applications that I've seen that are already open. First up, there's JP Morgan's 2023 Corporate and Investment Banking Summer Analyst Program. I've seen these openings throughout the US and in Canada. They got posted back in January, and it says the application is open until September. But again, most of these applications are on a rolling basis, meaning that spots will continue to get filled up throughout the time that their application is open, and if you're applying too far later on, many of the spots will already be filled. Others that I've seen that have opened up include Greenhill, Credit Suisse, RBC. I know that a ton of other banks have already opened up their applications, so I highly recommend just taking a look at their website or even just Googling company name 2023 investment banking summer analyst positions. If you're looking for full-time, just search full-time positions, but full-time recruiting is usually a slightly different timeline. There's really a fine balance between waiting until you're fully prepared for the interview process versus applying early and being one of the first people that they interview when there's less people in the pool that they've accepted. Two great resources that I highly recommend if you're just looking for a crash course on investment banking and while you're prepping up for it is the 400 question mergers and acquisition guide. It's a pretty comprehensive guide that has investment banking questions and answers. You can also check out Financial Edge. They have a course called The Investment Banker. They're the company that trains full-time investment bankers to actually join full-time. So I highly recommend checking out their website. If you're interested in any of their courses, I have a code for 25% off if you use Angela25. I'll include links to both of those resources down in my description box below. And also my Patreon has a ton of other types of investment banking interview questions and answers that I've seen myself through the interview process. So you can go and check that out at patreon.com/AngelaSunX3. I feel like I've bombarded you guys with a lot, but the gist of this video is you have to go apply now, prepare for the interview process. You guys got this. One important thing to remember about the investment banking recruiting timeline is that it generally changes every single year. It moves up earlier and earlier, and so if you're watching this video a little bit past this recruiting cycle or you're not applying for this upcoming one, just know that the next cycle is likely going to be even earlier. Next thing you know, preschoolers are going to be applying for investment banking internships. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!